Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Just got back from the Harris chain from a pretty disastrous finish. We'll talk about that pretty soon. But first off, I want to show you guys something special. If you've been following me, you know how long I've been waiting for electricity in my shop, and we finally got it. I came home to a powered shop. We got lights. It feels so good to have electricity in here. You know, I've been using that little generator all this time to power everything, and there's no replacement for wired electricity, because now we've got everything lit up and we can work in here day or night. So really stoked on that. A great thing to come home to, especially after the event that I had. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is my absolute bomb of a tournament on the Harris chain. Oh my gosh. All right, so here we go. Now, first off, I have to apologize to you guys because, you know, I fully intend on doing a recap video for every single day of every single event, regardless of how well or how bad I do in that event or that day. And obviously I didn't do one for the last 2 days. I feel like there were pretty special circumstances. It had nothing to do with the fact that I didn't want to talk about, you know, having the disastrous day, or really days that I had, because I think that's part of the story. That's part of the just being a tournament bass fisherman. You're going to have to deal with those days, and I want to share my feelings on that. But before I get into, you know, those days, I want to just share with you why I didn't do a video, especially that first day. The second day, I don't really have a good excuse. I was just overcome with all kinds of things that were going on, and I just didn't get it done. So I apologize for that. But the first day, I have sort of a good excuse. So to put it in context, you know, I fished the first half of the day on live. Everything was going fine. I ended up running to a Popka from Beauclair, and that was a weird decision to begin with. So we'll get to that pretty soon. But anyways, after the camera ended up leaving, I was in a Popka for like an hour at that point, and then all of a sudden I ended up getting like either something in my eye that caused an allergic reaction, or there was like some type of pollen around that caused an allergic reaction. And my eyes started just getting so painful and itchy, and they started to swell. And I mean, they pretty much swelled shut. It was the craziest thing. It was super painful. And I'm like, all I can do is, like, especially when I was locking back through, I was just sticking my head in the water, trying to get the contacts out, because I never learned how to take my contacts out without a mirror. But so I was just everything I could do to get my contacts out, because when your eyes get real puffy and irritated, your contacts start, you know, rubbing kind of funny, and that's what was going on. It was making the whole allergic reaction or whatever it was a whole lot worse. And so anyways, I ended up having some really, really bad eye issues that day for the second half of the day. Not an excuse for the fishing. You know, I'm a professional angler, so I should be able to overcome something like that and figure out a way to catch fish despite my situation. So that's not a excuse for my bad day. I was having a bad day because of bad choices that I made. But the reason I mention this is because when I got back to the camper, and you can actually see probably my eyes probably still a little bit red. This one especially was the worst, and it's definitely still raw around the edges. But anyways, as soon as I got back to the camper, I was exhausted and you know, in so much pain, and I looked terrible. I just didn't feel like doing a video that night. So that's the reason I didn't do a video that first day. So I apologize, but we're gonna make up for it right now, and we're gonna talk about the tournament. So anyways, you guys have seen like the tournament practice recap. The first day of the tournament, I ended up, you know, my whole plan was to just stay in Beauclair and throw a jerkbait around. And if you watched live, you saw that, you know, right off the bat, I caught a 3 3/4 pounder. You know, that's a really good quality fish in this tournament. So I was pretty amped up and caught a few other fish that weren't keepers, and then hooked into like a 2.5, 3 pounder that broke me off because I had the line wrapped around the rod tip. It was just a weird situation, and it went for a run and broke the line. So I lost the jerkbait that I was catching all those fish on, and never really could find another jerkbait that was working as well. So rookie mistake for not having more of those baits in the boat, but I honestly thought that any of the jerk baits in my box would do just as well. And so because I had so much confidence in that jerk bait at that point, and I couldn't find any other baits that they were reacting to the same way, I was just like, man, you know, I want to go flipping. Let's bring out the flipping stick and let's go to a Apopka. If you don't know that run, you know, obviously we're still pretty close to that because you have to go through Beauclair to get to the Apopka lock, but it's still about a 30-minute process from Beauclair through the idle no wake zones and then through the lock. So it was a risky move. That's another hour at least in transit that I was adding to my day. And I made the run down there, and even though in practice I did not catch any good size fish down there or very many bites at all, you know, I went down there. I made that decision. I can't really explain it, and it definitely bit me, and ended up catching a couple fish. I caught one on camera. I really thought things were going well, and then things just dove off from there, including the whole allergy eye thing, or, you know, maybe I rubbed something in there, but I actually did talk to another guy the second day that was in Apopka too, and he had something similar happen as far as allergies. So it probably is allergies, even though I don't generally get them. So the second day, so I ended the first day with like 6 pounds something ounces with 3 fish. Worst day of Florida fishing I've had in forever. So was pretty bummed and knew that I needed a big bag to get back in it. And the only thing that could come to my head that I felt confident in is going back to Apopka, maybe trying to find locations where the fish are, just covering water and, you know, and dedicating myself to that lake. So that's what I did on the second day. I was flipping and pitching, pads and reeds. Most of my bites came out of pads that day, but the size wasn't there. I mean, nobody was catching good bags down there, and everybody was struggling, and I should have known better. I mean, I should have just swung for the fences elsewhere. So it just was a tournament that was all about bad decisions. I didn't lose any giant fish. I lost plenty of good keepers that would have, you know, increased my weight. I probably could have had another 5 pounds if I got everything in the boat, but it still wouldn't give me a check. And so it just was all bad decisions. They're all things that I have to, you know, just learn from, and I got to put this event behind me. So that is the recap. We're going to be doing a day 2 tournament breakdown video because day 1, on top of everything that's happened on that first day, my GoPro wasn't working. So I had a GoPro that I guess ended up getting waterlogged, and I tried to reformat the card, and it just froze on formatting the entire day, and I couldn't get it to work. So we didn't get any footage that first day, which is just as well because I caught 3 fish anyways. But the second day, I'm going to do a full recap of that boondoggle for you guys. And yeah, so it was a rough week. It was a rough week, but it was all self-imposed except for, you know, of course, the eye thing. The rubbing of the eye was my fault. I made it a whole lot worse than it needed to be, but anyways, thank you guys for all the support. I apologize again for not doing the videos on a regular basis like I usually do, but man, you guys are the best. You know, you guys support me, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned. We've got the Dale Hollow Toyota Series event, which is redemption time. We got that Dale Hollow event coming up in a couple weeks, and so I'm going to spend some time here in the shop that has this nice, beautiful lighting and electricity to prepare for that event. So I'm gonna clean this place up. It's a mess. I'm gonna put these Battleborn batteries on their shelf over there and do all kinds of stuff. It is a wreck. So got my work cut out for me this week. But anyways, Thank you guys again. I'm going to see you out on the water in the shop.